This week on The Emerging Bay, we learn more about the changing knowledge-based economy and how young entrepreneurs are working to build our community. Judy Saunders of the Northwestern Ontario Technology Centre tells us more about how we can engage youth and gives us some good examples of how we as a community may think about the challenges that we face.
When we talk about the knowledge economy, I guess I'm going to really simplify this. Lady yesterday said she's supportive of youth entrepreneurship until her son came home and said, you know, I don't think I'm going to go to university. I'm going to start my own business. Then she wasn't so supportive of youth entrepreneurship. It was like, okay, no, you're going to university and you're not starting your own business. So there's a perceived conservatism, there's risk. There's not a lot of kids that grew up in entrepreneurial families. They grew up in families where you got a good job and you stuck with the good job and that's what you're expected to do. We also have a predisposition to plan and encourage our kids to post-secondary education, not into an entrepreneurial environment, and they don't get exposed to it. But the college and the university are producing fantastic graduates with a lot of skills, but most of them will never even think that they could or should maybe start a venture and do something. Do we have the environment to encourage the growth of a knowledge economy? Are we busy looking in the ditch when we're driving our motorcycle, or are we looking at where we want to go? And I think half the time we love to look in the ditch and say, boy, things are really bad here. And yeah, look at all the garbage instead of looking at the sunset or sunrise out there. So I guess, how do we get that environment in place? Well, there's lots of programs and different things out there that try to encourage growth of these types of businesses and this type of economy. But then we also defeat ourselves. And I'll talk a little bit about Sensia. They're a company that started with 2 people. They're at 12 people and they're hiring more people. And they create learning management systems targeted at corporations so that they can train their staff anytime, anywhere, using online computer software that Sensia has developed. So Sensia's got Walgreens using their system. They have large telecommunication companies using their system. A new pharmaceutical company out of the US is using their system. Have they sold their system in Thunder Bay? Northwestern Ontario? No, they hardly get the time of day in our own neighborhood because, gee, can it be that good of software if we developed it here, right? And so I guess my message is, if you want to grow the knowledge economy, we've got to be willing to be cheerleaders and supporters and first users of the stuff that's created here. And we got to get over the mentality that it's got to come from Toronto or Vancouver or the US for it to be good. Great things are happening here. Get to know what they are and get behind them and start talking about them. And if you're a buyer, start using them and help these companies work through the pains, because it's not easy. It's a rocky road doing this, and I see companies go up and down and struggle as they try to get credibility in their own backyard. And they can get credibility from a company like Walgreens, but they have a hard time selling right here in Northwestern Ontario. We have a new program called an Innovator Member Program, and I just want to talk about one of the guys in the program right now. And he, you know, got a university degree, went and worked for a while, and then kind of got talked back into coming and working in his dad's company that's been around for 20 years, you know. And he didn't seem overly thrilled about the whole thing, but it seemed like the right thing to do now that he was married, and he went back in. Then about 6 months later, he comes into the office and says, oh, I got this great idea. And so he's in a traditional industry, and he's got new technology that he wants to introduce. So right now he's in the process of developing that. And that's what we're going to see as some of these businesses in our community, they're going to bring in the next generation, hopefully, and some succession planning, and he's the next generation. But he has no desire to run the same business his dad ran for 20 years. He wants to change, he wants to innovate, he wants to grow. And his new technology will help his dad's business, but it'll also be sold out to businesses across North America. And he's in the process of developing that. And that's the kind of shift that we need to support and embrace as we move this thing forward.